Well, I honestly never expected to be making this video, but time to talk about the other Paranormal Activity movies that have been released since I last talked about this franchise. Starting out with Ghost Dimension. Now, the main reason why I took so long to get to talking about this film was because originally this movie was supposed to be the movie that explained absolutely everything and then would set this franchise up for another movie that would wrap it all up. But after they made the movie, the people in charge of this franchise decided to make this the final movie in this continuity. Yeah. And that really was a turnoff for me. But then when I watched it, I'm like, this fits right in. It carried the exact same vibe, updated technology, but it did an excellent job of trying to make this a little bit more creepy, expanding on the origin story of Toby and young Kate, while also showing what's going on with these new people. Unfortunately, it didn't really do the best job of continuing anything that was continuing beyond Paranormal Activity 4. I know that there were a couple of throwaway lines in there that kind of explained why Kate wasn't in this movie, the adult Kate, but I can't remember what they are right now. But honestly, I freely admit I was more interested in what was going on with this family than Kate, so that's not the biggest deal, though it was nice that Hunter got brought up again, even though in Paranormal Activity 4 he goes by a different name, but I can't remember what that name is right now because I didn't rewatch any of the previous movies beyond looking at the Wikipedia page a little bit. So while I could picture almost everyone in this franchise, the names just aren't coming back, I'm afraid. But it was a nice attempt to move the story along, and then the ending, ho 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 ho, great ending, except for the fact that then you just don't continue the storyline, you just leave it at that. What? After all that, you just leave that plot thread and then you don't continue with it? It just, yeah. Kind of dumb, just like how we never got a real resolution to what was going on at the end of Marked Ones, where a possessed Jesse is still out there, though it could just be that this Marked Ones is meant to just be something that shows this whole idea of demonic possession is more complicated than you expect. It isn't just one family or set of houses that happens to have relation to all of this. Yeah. Whew. So it does work good as an additional movie, but as an ending, it isn't that good. So because of that, I'm going to go for critique because it fits in with the franchise. But then once I start applying my mind, trying to go with where were you going with this, and then dealing with what we have right now, dropping it to somewhere between the 3 and the 2 range, because those the reasons that I wasn't watching this one originally just are coming back and then haunting me. Even though some people might think that I'm being a little bit hard on it, because even if you go back and watch my original review for this franchise, I spend more time on the negatives than the positives, despite liking just about every movie. So following that logic, I'll just say 3 so I don't have to think about it anymore. Now, moving on to the next of kin, the standalone sequel, which seems to be a term that gets thrown around a lot in different ways, so I think the better way to call this is a requel, where it's a soft reboot of the franchise, takes a lot of themes from the previous installments, but the actual plot is meant to be taken by itself. That's a much better way of looking at it, if you ask me. Now, hold on. There are a couple of Reddit threads out there about this movie that seem to indicate that this is actually indeed supposed to be a proper continuation, because apparently they're trying to state that the demon that's in here, which has the name like Adamus or something like that, is actually the real name of Toby. I don't buy that, because Toby got a physical form at the end of Ghost Dimension. So, if he has a physical form, then why would a movie that has much more updated technology, he all of a sudden go to just possessing people en masse, that kind of a thing? And also, this movie implied to me, that this cult or worshipping of the spirit has been going on for a very long time. Now, granted, the earliest manifestation of Toby in this franchise did exist far enough back that, if the multi-possession at once was a thing back then, this would allow the timeline to work. I didn't get anything from the previous films that multi-possession was a thing. Nah. Now, of course, you might be going, "Oh, it is part of the franchise. It just wasn't thought of back then, but the coincidental structuring of the plot makes it work." That's the argument that you're using for the Disney Star Wars trilogy. I don't think that works here. Guys, this is not a Paranormal Activity movie. This is a found footage horror movie that happens to have Paranormal Activity in the title. We're only talking about it because of the brand name. Vehicle Force Voltron. Another prime example of something that doesn't really relate to the other ones. You know, okay? Now, that's not to say that it isn't well done. It was. But we're only talking about it because of the title. And that's a problem. Especially since when you get to the end of this movie, okay, for the first time in this whole franchise, the good guys survive. Now, granted, do I want the good guys to survive in all these movies? Yes. But after the first couple, did I expect them to? No. Because, like, the chick in the fourth one, I like that chick. But I'm like, yeah, you're done. There's only one protagonist in this movie, really. You are toast. Now, I think one person in Marked Ones was left alive, but that's only because we didn't get a definitive conclusion to them. Because Jesse gets possessed, the other guy is trying to run from Jesse, but again gets teleported back in time and has to deal with Micah in a version of events that don't make any sense with the end of the first one, but I've already talked about that. But I think that there was a chick with them, and I can't remember what happened to her, but how do we know that Jesse didn't go back and finish her off? It's quite possible that he did, so I don't count her as surviving. So, oh yeah, but then of course there's Al Lee from the second one, who appears in the fifth one. Convenient loophole. She wasn't around for all of the events that occurred in there. So it goes to show you, Toby was not interested in the family, he was only interested in specific people. She happened to not be there, he didn't care. Yeah. Yeah, so yes, Allie does survive, but it's a convenient loophole, almost as if she was never there. Here we have multiple good guys survive. And then the end of this movie makes it clear that, oh, the cult is leaving the farm place and heading out there, but I highly doubt that they're going to make a sequel to this. I do know that they are planning another movie in this franchise, but it's either just going to be a completely different story that probably won't have much to do with this storyline, kind of like how Quarantine 2 had nothing to do with the original Quarantine, or they're going to go back to the original continuity and try and resolve that. That's my bet. So, again, there's nothing really wrong with this movie. It's just the fact that we're talking about it for the wrong reasons. As a horror movie, it's fine. As an entry in the franchise, it doesn't work at all. So, as an entry in the franchise, 2 out of 5 on its own. This is more on the critique scale. Part of me thinks being 4 is generous, but again, I don't think that there's not much wrong with it. Yeah, 4. Okay, but I'm not done yet, because I also went back and I watched the Japanese Paranormal 2 movie. Now, obviously, this has officially been decanonized by, the filmmakers, but once I saw that it was live action instead of animated, which is what I've been thinking it was, I'm like, okay, I'll give this a whirl, and to my surprise, they did pretty good with it. It fit right in, carried the exact same vibes. The tie-in to the original Paranormal Activity, I don't think was that much of a stretch. And then how the movie just panned out, it just fit right in. I was really impressed by it. They did good with this. I really can't say anything more because it's just another entry into a franchise that most people watching this are already familiar with. 4 out of 5 easy. Heck, I might even up it to 4.5 if I'm feeling really generous, but part of me thinks that's over the top, so I'll just go with 4. But as I said before, getting 4 out of 5 isn't insanely difficult. And then I also checked out the documentary that they made for this franchise. I forget what it's called, but they went and they talked to everybody, just about all the main characters from previous movies in the franchise. Obviously, they didn't do the Japanese one, but they explained how the franchise came to be, and just revealed behind-the-scenes dynamics and how much everyone seemed to enjoy making this. And then so many people were like, how is this going to be exciting? And yet so many people were leaving the theater because they're like, oh, it's too scary when nothing is happening. It's just a build-up. Yeah. So that was a great documentary. If you can find it out there, I definitely recommend you give it a whirl. Alright, so that officially brings me up to date with these Paranormal Activity films. I'm glad that I did this, though I am bummed that original continuity never got fully resolved, but they could end up doing it with better CGI technology these days. It wouldn't be that hard to de-age someone that plays Kate and or make Hunter a little older and then try and resolve all that stuff. They could still do it. I kind of doubt it, but who knows? In this age of corporate media where everyone's trying to revive a franchise in some degree, heck, it seems like they're coming out with a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not reboot, but continuation with a new generation of people with a few past characters making appearances. If they're going to go for that, goes to show you almost anything is possible. As long as you don't do a Boney reboot. Bad joke, I know. See ya.